Weckl or Gadd?
You can't do that, it's so mean. If I say Weckl, everyone's gonna be like, oh. If I say Steve Gadd, everyone's gonna be like, I'll say both, but I watched more Weckl growing up.
Single or double pedal?
Double.
Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson?
Louis Bellson.
Your favorite, rock or jazz?
Rock.
Live or studio?
Live. These are the answers I think people would be like, what? They're the truth. Hey everybody, Greyson Nekrutman here. I'm at the Warehaus in Denver, Colorado, answering some questions and a little Q&A, so be a ton of fun. I started playing drums at 4 years old. My middle brother is a saxophone player, and he was at a music store taking lessons with my mom, and I was alongside her, and I saw a drum set, and I immediately ran to it. My mom's like, don't touch it, and Claire's like, you can, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And then that's how I started at 4. I started playing school band as soon as I basically could. I think that's 3rd grade, maybe? 4th grade is when you start?
You play any other instruments?
Guitar.
Okay.
Now I play guitar, as of a few months ago.
Newly found?
Yes, newly found. Well, it's not newly found, I always wanted to, but now I have like an opportunity to.
What's the first chord you learned?
It wasn't a chord, it was a song. It was maybe Memories by the Used.
What would you attribute your major influences when it comes to drums?
Carter Beauford.
Okay.
First influence, Carter Beauford for sure. Just everything about him, his drum set. The first thing I saw was just the massive drum set and all the different instruments and different things he had on his drum set. And he had like a whole right side of all different chimes and blocks and cymbals and stuff that I'd never seen before. So I think it was Carter and the whole Dave Matthews Band sound, really when I was young, was my thing. Well, I had like an average size kit, if you will, when I was really young. So it was 2 rack toms, floor tom, snare drum, ride, 2 crashes, hi-hat. You know, that's like a simple 5-piece kit. And then I always saw drummers that had 1 rack, 1 floor, and my mom was like, no, those are probably cheaper because there's less drums, and little do we know. And honestly, I found drummers like Michael Shreve and Sonny Payne and a lot of old jazz guys and Mitch Mitchell and all these different people who I found could make it work with nothing more than these amount of pieces, 2 crashes, a ride, hi-hats, snare drum. Pretty simple. I didn't need a million pieces. And also at 15, 16, shoveling snow to save up money to buy cymbals.
I mean, what was your first style of music? What drew you in first? Was it rock?
Rock all day long. It was Creed, Pearl Jam, a lot of like the mainstream stuff at the time. So that was early 2000s. And then when I got a little older into like my teenage years, it was more like Silverstein and the Used and things like that. Not jazz at all. The last thing you would expect from me, but that was the stuff I liked listening to.
Then where did the jazz influence come in?
At 16 or 17, my brother, saxophone player, the same one who, you know, when I started, was like, you should really get into this whole thing. You should, you should come to jam sessions. And in Long Island, you can't really, it's not really a thing to sit in on a rock band. But in jazz, the whole jazz world, it's a thing where you sit in and you can not know them necessarily, not know the other musicians, but sit in and come up with a song on the spot and play, and it's an opportunity to play a live gig. So for me, it was almost like, I really wanted to play live so badly that it was a necessity. That was really the dream of like, I'll use this as a kind of a catapult to whatever I really, really want to do. And then the social media thing with the whole jazz was the same track of, it did really, really well, and I rode that wave.
When was the first day or year you went on Instagram?
My mom made it in 2013 or 14. So pretty early on Instagram. I'm gonna say 2014, my mom made it. It was like 4 or 5 years of nothing. I remember Travis Barker commented on like one of my first early covers, and I was like, oh, okay, what is that? And then during COVID's when it really like exponential growth of just, wow.
What was it that you were doing different?
The idea to do the video thing was what really kind of like, whoa. Everybody was doing a cover. And I said, well, I, number one, didn't really care about my audio equipment, to be quite honest with you. I was like, I don't really need fancy mics. I had a $100 mic pack since I was like 8 years old. I had my iPhone filming it. And I said, so the audio's whatever. I said, but I can make the video cool. I could put the video in video, and hey, it probably will get a lot of views, and I'm gonna do that. Find something that nobody else is doing in your area. Because there's like a lot of things, because I'm into fitness and running and all that, there's a lot of the same fitness pages that all do the exact same thing. If you somehow make it different to everybody else and what everybody else is doing, people are gonna notice. And it's flattering because nowadays there's a ton of kids who are doing the video thing and the wearing the suit thing and the jazz cover thing, and they do the exact same songs. And I'm flattered by it because I'm like, that's awesome to see somebody influence. But at the same time, I'm like, I wish they would do something different because that fad is gonna die out, just like every other one has. This is physically a tough trip for me because last night you know, I got home at whatever, 10:30 from driving for 4 hours in the car, packed 30 minutes, slept an hour, came here, flew, you know. It almost feels like that's the stuff you're getting paid to do. Like the mental stress and the mental exhaustion and the physical exhaustion is what you're paid for. The drum part is like, that's the fun part, and the exploration part is the other payment. Salt Lake City was, I woke up and I'd always wanted to go to Salt Lake City. I got out of the bus and I said, I'm gonna put my Apple Watch on and I'm just gonna walk, you know, a mile or two. By the end of it, no joke, it was 12 miles. I walked 12 miles in Salt Lake City by myself, just like, la 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 la. After the fact, that night on the bus, I realized, oh, this is why I like this.
Who have you always wanted to play?
Honestly, Suicidal. They were one because I would always see different drummers play with them. And a lot of drummers that I looked up to played with them, but every drummer that played with them was given the opportunity to be themselves and at the same time learn from the drummers before them who were in the band already, if that makes sense. If you listen to each era of that band, it's very distinct. Whether it's Mike Clark on guitar or not Mike Clark on guitar, or Josh Paul on bass, or Rob on bass. It's very different, and in a good way though. So I came into it like, oh, this song Brooks Wackerman played on, so I'm gonna try to channel Brooks a little bit, and then, oh, Jimmy DeGrasso played on this one, I'm gonna play like Jimmy a little bit, and then, oh, now I'm playing that same song, but it's Greyson. I'm gonna combine Brooks and Jimmy, and take Jimmy's feet and Brooks' hands, you know, things like that. I played match grip from 4 to 16, 17. Been playing 75% traditional since I was like 18.
What made you look to the traditional, just because of the jazz, the roots that you were doing?
Made me different.
Yeah.
It made me different.
Yep.
To me, as superficial as it sounds, it looks cooler in photos, I think. I saw an interview with the guitarist of Deftones, Stefan, and he talked about his guitars, and they were all the same wood, but they had different colors. And the interviewer was like, oh my gosh, does it like make a difference? He's like, no, it looks cool. And it's the truth. I mean, for me, there are benefits. I don't have to work so hard to go. As here, I feel like I have to purposely think down, down. Also, it's easier to kind of do fun things like that, you know, because here it's like, yeah, you know, but it was just, again, it was something that allowed me to stand out and allowed me to be different, and also was kind of an homage to all the old drummers that I always loved. I kind of came up with it. I don't claim to invent it. I'm sure a million people have used it before me, and I never claimed to invent it. People just kind of associate with me with
Maybe explain
creating
using
that.
your fingers.
Yeah, so I've done thumb, pointer, middle, pointer, thumb. I've done those things. I've done just thumb. That's Joe Morello. He would do it. And then I combine it with my wrist, because if I have my wrist stroke, you get all the accents. So it's kind of like a combination of everybody I've ever watched that has an amazing traditional grip, plus myself. I didn't really care if it was proper or right or not. I kind of threw the whole it's right or wrong out. I was like, if it works, it works. I don't really care.
Well, with that, I think that wraps us up. We want to thank Greyson Nekrutman for being in the Warehouse today, and we look forward to many, many more great things from him, and we look forward to watching him through his career for the coming decades.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.